Hello, welcome to Cloud Experts Unleashed. I am your host, Ryan Brown. I am the Chief Marketing Officer here at xByte Solutions. And joining with me today is my special guest, Dakota Clum. Dakota, welcome. He is the CTO for xByte Cloud.
Hey Ryan, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure, Dakota. And today we have a special tribute for everybody. This is a kind of a replay of a presentation that Dakota did. He was a special presenter at the last ColdFusion conference. So we're bringing that to everybody. We're doing a series of these, and this is the first in a series. And then today we're going to talk about kind of the gold standard for kind of a pre-production checklist for your ColdFusion environment to keep you up to date, to keep you tuned, kind of the things to start off with. And I'll go ahead and pass it to Dakota now, and he'll kind of lead us through the way.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ryan. And yeah, today we're here to discuss a pre-production checklist, or what I like to refer to as any kind of steps I perform before deploying any application or workload onto a fresh ColdFusion server. One of the most important aspects is actually that we verify ColdFusion is up to date, and it's really easy to do that. Anytime you install ColdFusion, you'll have access to your ColdFusion administrator, and you can log in. And you'll notice one of the first things you see is that there's gold stars in the top right that indicates there's either a ColdFusion update available or even a ColdFusion package update available. And if you click those stars, you'll actually be taken to your package manager within your CF administrator, and it tells you what updates are available. So in this case, I'm on update level 4, as you can see, and I'm also, I have 2 ColdFusion hotfixes available. So always check this anytime you're about to deploy your ColdFusion environment or to deploy an application to your ColdFusion environment. Bug fixes are included in these hotfixes, a variety of security patches as well. This will keep your environment secure and stable straight from the get-go. Next, what I like to check is in the top right of my ColdFusion administrator, I can actually navigate to the system information for the install or for the ColdFusion environment. And here I can see, what version of Tomcat am I on, what version of, or what update am I currently running. You'll also see, and I've highlighted it here, is the current Java version that's tied to my environment. So what I can do is I can go out to Adobe's download page, and we'll point out an article in this video that you can review to exactly what you need to do to perform this process. And I can see what version of Java is available or what the latest download version is. Typically, when you're performing any kind of ColdFusion hotfix or update, you're going to want to apply the corresponding JDK update or upgrade as well, which keeps your environment, again, stable, secure. Java updates contain, a variety of security fixes and addresses bugs that could be, harming your environment. So definitely want to keep that up to date. Next on my list here is upgrading the ColdFusion connector. So the ColdFusion connector is a web server connector from your ColdFusion instance to your web server, whether that be IIS or Apache. And you can actually upgrade this. And sometimes this connector gets upgrades or updates that are available in between various ColdFusion hotfixes. So whenever your web server is passing requests to ColdFusion for processing, you're going to want to make sure this is running the latest stable release. You'll see here in my screenshot that you can find your wsconfig.exe utility or the web server connector utility in the path highlighted in red here. And from this directory, you can actually open a command line interface and run that executable. You can do wsconfig.exe and pass an upgrade parameter. It's going to stop your web server temporarily and then start it again. So just keep that in mind if you're already in a production environment and you're doing an upgrade. And this will get you to that latest available or web server connector version. another important step in the process. Next, I want to go back to the ColdFusion administrator and talk a little bit about what can you do in that pre-production kind of overview and checklist. Where we'll want to navigate to is actually server settings and request tuning within the CF administrator. And an important item I always like to highlight is look at your request limits. When you think about your ColdFusion application and what kind of traffic you're expecting to get, do you expect to get 10 requests at a time, 20, 30, 40? Really try to assess that in your staging environment, or, just as you bring your application to a production environment and make the necessary tuning adjustments. Additionally to that, you can also look at your simultaneous CFC function requests as another common area I see tuned or even like to tune. How many, functions is your ColdFusion application running simultaneously? Be sure to adjust that threshold to meet your needs. There's a variety of settings in the request tuning section you can kind of look at and tune based on the specific needs of your application. Keep in mind, queue timeout settings, long running requests. You have a lot of options available here to you. Lastly, I want to talk about something that I actually find most important, aside from updates, and that pre-production checklist. Whenever you do a fresh installation of ColdFusion, the minimum and maximum Java heap thresholds are actually set to a pretty low configurable value. So what I've seen a lot of times is users will perform a fresh ColdFusion install. They'll import their application, get everything working, and then the app crashes after 5 or 10 minutes or a day of being in production. Typically, that's associated with the amount of memory that ColdFusion has made available to the JVM, which I believe defaults to 512 megabytes up to 1024 megabytes or 1 gig. So keep that in mind. You actually have the ability to update this within your jvm.config file. We'll put a path reference on the screen where you can go and modify this value and try to set that threshold to something you expect your memory footprint to be. So if you're working in your development environment, go and check the actual Java heap footprint of your application and make sure you're making those tuning adjustments in your production environment. 3 gigabytes could be a common scenario. I've seen them go all the way up to 20 plus gigabytes. So you really tune this threshold based on the needs of your environment. But definitely don't forget about it. Once you've made these threshold adjustments, you would need to restart ColdFusion for them to take effect. But yes, that will put you in a good spot. So I think we've covered really the kind of golden standards I look for in any pre-production environment. I hope this helps. Ryan, any questions on your side? I know we went through that pretty quick.
I think you went through a great list for everybody to get an idea of what are those things that they need to do to kind of start off with the great gold standard starting off point for pre-production. And it's the first of a series of videos, so everybody watch for more of these. We had some links to some help articles that were on the bottom of the screen. I know people may have scratched those down. Don't worry, on the YouTube video, we will include all those in the notes on that, so you'll have access to those notes, as well as any of the locations for the files for the wsconfig as well as the jvm config. So we'll include those for everybody. But thank you very much, Dakota. For Dakota, for Ryan Brown, myself here at xByte, thank you very much, and have a great day, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.